Watch Dogs is a game I never played because 11 years ago I was too busy getting the original Victory Royale and wishing I woke up trapped in a maze. Being a tiny little boy, even thinking of playing any game with that fat cursed M on it would get me a beating. So I stuck to playing my PS2 and never really paid attention to new game releases. If you were to ask me what I thought of the game Watch Dogs, I would say that I remember people hated it for some reason. And turns out all that hate and lies could have been avoided if Mr. Ubi over here didn't decide to set their newest open world GTA killer up to fail. June 4th, 2012. Ubisoft shows off their fancy new stunning next-gen game with an E3 gameplay presentation. To this day, looks better than anything Ubisoft themselves have released. A new IP set in Chicago where you are literally Batman and he kills people to clean up the city. You get to hack and kill mobsters. Everybody wanted to play. But gamers weren't ready for what was about to happen. A few more trailers released from 2012 to 2014, and on May 27th, the world found out that they were lied to. The game's graphics had been toned down on consoles, and even the PC release looked worse than what was promised. And remember how you were supposed to be Hacker Batman? Well, you still were, but not in the way it was advertised. Gamers had experienced one of the biggest bait and switches in gaming up to that point. But I only heard rumblings of this drama. But then, Steam's annual attempt to take all of my money came around. Watch Dogs intrigued me. Positive reviews on Steam, and for so cheap, why not? So over a decade after Ubisoft's biggest marketing blunder, is the game any good? You play as Aiden Pierce, a middle-aged, single, Midwestern guy who is a world-class hacker that steals on the side. He is pulling a heist with his partner, Damien, who is supposed to be a better hacker than Aiden, but sets off a silent alarm and has a computer wizard battle with another hacker, which gives him and Aiden away. Aiden is an uncle, and while driving with his niece, a hit is called on him, but his niece gets caught in the crossfire. Aiden then becomes a vigilante who works to track down the hitman and his boss to get revenge. A year later, Aiden finds Maurice, the shooter, but he won't give up the name of his employer. So he hands him over to Jordy, a fixer or gun for hire to keep him company and make him talk. The police are called, so he causes a blackout at the baseball game and escapes back to his Batcave. He then goes and visits his sister Nicole and his nephew Jax, who has been in therapy and refuses to talk since his sister died. Jack is a good and interesting character that I started to care about, unlike his mother, who has the personality of a tree, which doesn't really give me much motivation to save her later in the game. Anyway, some creeper calls her on the phone, so Aiden becomes a badass and chases him down. Aiden gets help from a hacker named Bad Boy, who turns out to be a goth mommy named Clara. Aiden's like, yo girl, can I hack that mainframe? Clara is part of a turbo nerd group called DedSec, whose whole mission statement is to make the government require that all important online facilities to be off the grid so they can't be hacked. Honestly, they should do this in real life. But the mayor is forcing Chicago to be a smart city with the help of Bloom, who has CTOS surveillance all over the city. Back to Aiden. He domes the freaky man on the phone, and with Clara's help, learns that it was his old partner Damien who ordered the creeper to his family's house. And he kidnapped his sister. Aiden's old Batcave gets destroyed, so he needs a new one. And with goth mommy's help, he gets the ultimate Batcave, the bunker. An old, undetectable Bloom base with direct access to the CTOS network. Damien wants us to track down the hacker he had his cyber duel with and get everything off his secure servers. We learn it was the gang leader Iraq, an army veteran who served in Iraq. Working real hard over there, huh, Ubisoft? Iraq's servers are in his secure gang hideout, so Aiden needs Iraq's access key to get into the server room. Aiden blackmails Iraq's cousin Bedbug into helping him get into an underground auction being held by this old fart named Lucky Quinn. Aiden steals the identity of a freaky European, murks him, and gets his invitation to the auction. What kind of auction? It's of the people variety. We sneak in and oh my god, Aiden sees some really messed up stuff, but finally we get close to Iraq and stand his access key for the server room. Lucky suspects there's something off about us, so we try to sneak out but end up having a shootout at the docks. Finally we make our escape. Aiden decides that Iraq's headquarters is too well guarded, so we blackmail Bedbug again to sneak in and download the info for us. But he gets caught. Iraq, for some reason, doesn't kill him, even after saying multiple times that he wants to. Bedbud only downloaded a chunk of the data, but turns out the data's encrypted. So we track down Raymond Kenny or T-Bone to help us decrypt it. Damon makes a deal with Bloom, a few redneck shenanigans, and a very fun mission later, T-Bone comes back to Chicago. Aiden gets back and just decides to go into Iraq's compound anyway with the help of Jordy. He shoots up the place, steals the data, and has a boss battle with the PTS-riddled veteran. Why didn't Aiden just shoot everybody in the first place? Who knows? Okay, so Iraq is dead and we have all the data. Turns out, it's a huge amount of blackmail on every single person in Chicago. Time to decrypt and get Nicole back. What could possibly go wrong? Well, turns out that a rogue DJ hacker named Default hacks into our unhackable base and steals all of the data. As Default is stealing our data, he plays a recording that shows Clara was originally the one who tracked Aiden and Damien down after the failed Marlot job, being employed by the person who ordered the hit on Aiden. Oh no, Aiden isn't gonna hack her mainframe anymore, and Clara just walks off, leaving the boys to fix the mess. Damien demands a report on Aiden's progress. He lies to Damien, trying to blackmail him about the meeting with Bloom. Damien doesn't care, lets him talk to his sister on the phone, then leaks his identity to the public. Everyone knows who the vigilante is now, but it doesn't really matter because we have a rave to crash. We track Default to his party, chase after him, and take him out, retrieving the data so important to Damien. Remember the phone call with Nicole? Well, Aiden heard a noise in the background. T-Bone threw that shit in Audacity, and with some noise reduction, he now knows the location his sister's being held. We find Nicole, she domes some dude, we lead her out of the facility, pick up Jats, and Aiden takes them to the edge of town, and they leave Chicago for their own safety. Now that his family is safe, Aiden can turn his attention to getting his revenge and activating full John Wick mode. T-Bone finally decrypts all the data, and we learn who ordered the hit on Aiden. It was the leader of the club and owner of the Merlot, Lucky Quinn. We go back to where it all started to confront Lucky, and we learn that him and the mayor are in cahoots. How surprising. We shoot the hotel up and find Lucky in his office, who is hiding in a safe room behind bulletproof glass. Aiden is in arm's reach of the man who is responsible for his niece's death. The reason Lucky made the hit on Aiden in the first place was because he thought Aiden was trying to steal Quinn's blackmail he had on the mayor, killing a Bloom employee. With no way to get to Quinn, our phone tells us that Lucky recently had a heart surgery with a pacemaker put in. This leads to possibly the coolest revenge kill in gaming. Lucky is dead, but he ordered one last hit before he croaked, cleaning up loose ends. Aiden rushes to save Clara, who has been repeatedly leaving flowers at Lena's grave, but he's too late. Being unable to save Clara, Aiden returns to the bunker and T-Bone, deciding to upload the video of the mayor and all the dirt on the city to the public, which pisses off Damien.
What have you done?
We get a call from our former partner who tells us that he has gained access to CTOS because of his earlier deal with Bloom, giving him full control of the city. Aiden needs to stop him, and we get the coolest mission in the game. With T-Bone's help, we gain access to a satellite and upload a custom virus to completely black out the city and find Damien's location.
I don't know what Damien wanted in those final moments. Death, I suppose. I thought I could fix the little girl's death, but instead it led to all of this. Exposed lies, corrupted kings, a broken city. And me, changed man. I don't look back anymore. I don't regret. I look forward. Everything is connected, and I'll use that to expose, to protect, and if necessary, to punish.
WatchDogs' story is kind of disappointing when looking at it by how it was marketed. You were supposed to be a vigilante, taking down the mob who is running a human trafficking ring, not accidentally taking it down because your sister is in danger. Disappointing in that regard, but marketing teams and game devs aren't always in agreement on how to show a game. Forgetting about all that garbage, my blind reaction to the story is that it was a wild ride, and I felt like a badass playing as Aiden, even if some of the missions were pointless filler. My highlights are definitely the dialogue scenes with Jordy, Clara, T-Bone, and a handful of missions that really wowed me, with the auction, when you set up the ambush for Bedbug, defending T-Bone's backyard, and most definitely the last mission. Stuff like Default just showing up out of nowhere to steal the data was kinda stupid, and some story plotlines being abandoned like with Poppy, or how blackmailing Bedbug was just useless. Those complaints just kinda fade into the background because this game has been on my mind since I finished it, and I have been wanting more Aiden Pierce. That's a sign it left a good impression on me. The best way I can describe the gameplay is the cover-based shooting from The Division and watching people get vaporized from security cameras. You do feel like a god controlling the city even if the hacking isn't very deep, but comboing hacks together to wipe out groups of enemies never got old during my playthrough. By completing side objectives and story missions, you get XP to level up and use skill points to fill out a tree. Getting hats like Blackout and frying people's ears with static did make it feel unique enough and worth it. The story has a decent amount of linear missions, but most objectives can be tackled however you like. When I was taking out the freaky European, I chose to cause a blackout, take out his guards, but I missed him. I chased after him, made him crash, and finally caught the bastard. This player choice really shines in the side missions like criminal convoys and some of the gang hideouts. For convoys, you get a set path that a group of enemies are taking and can prepare in any way you want. I would usually park a car in the middle of the road, lay down C4 to blow up the leading car, then take them all out in a shootout in the middle of the road. You could lock them in an alley and spray them with a machine gun, cause a blackout, raise bridges. So many different ways to complete one objective. After getting all of the hacking and weapon upgrades for Aiden, you become John Wick, absolutely taking out groups of enemies in stealth or in open firefights with your time-slowing focus ability. Very good, very fun. This may be the most alive feeling open world I have ever played just because of one ability, hacking people's phones. Every single NPC in this game has a phone that can be hacked to steal cash from their bank account, or the more fun part, peering into their lives. The profiler gives this game so many little personal moments. I could kill a bad guy and feel horrible about it, or feel really good just because of a few lines of text. Also, when you're walking around, people just say some of the craziest shit that is some GTA level dialogue, and I can't get enough.
I can't believe how many blackouts we've been having lately. It can't be normal. Someone's messing with CT.
You will always hear or see something interesting, which helps stimulate your brain when completing the 10th Ubisoft tower. I don't know if it's my settings, but during the day, this game looks like a PS4 game. It's not bad, but the city looks washed out and dull, just like the Midwest. I'll give some points for realism, but it looks kinda meh. I'm not using any graphics mods, only for PlayStation buttons, which should be standard in every game, but when it's not daytime in Chicago, this game is literally breathtaking. The city at night looks incredible. Night City most definitely has it beaten out, but for a modern day video game city that is over a decade old, it's top tier. You have seen all of these side missions before. Outposts, towers, the criminal convoys, which are the best ones. They aren't bad, but just super unoriginal. The gunplay and hacking make up for doing the action missions, but doing towers feels like a chore. But thank God there are only a few and you don't even have to do all of them. The mini games like chess and poker are neat, with the digital trips being a fun distraction, but honestly, I just skipped most of the side content because I've done them all in every other Ubisoft game. When I first saw that morality bar pop up when I killed somebody, I was excited. Could this be like Infamous Second Son, where you can make choices that will affect the ending of the story? Unfortunately, no. Being a dick, or being a dick to only bad guys, doesn't have any change or overarching implications to the story whatsoever. All that changes is that people in the open world will either cheer for you if you're a protector of justice, or call the cops if you're a Why even have this in the game if it doesn't even do anything? Alright, let me lay out my WatchDogs Dream. Watch Dogs Chi-Town, a true sequel that continues Aiden Pierce's story as the Fox, the vigilante where you actually take down mobsters to make Chicago safer, instead of doing it because they're in your way to rescue stupid Nicky. It's the same Chicago map, but it's set during the winter, with more of the buildings having interiors and some more countryside on the outskirts. And you do Batman and John Wick type shit. Same hacks, more weapons, better side activities, a morality system that changes the ending, and you have an easy win. People like Aiden, and you know that, because why else would he show up in the other games? But it's Ubisoft, and I'm not holding my breath. Watch Dogs is part of my favorite video game genre, white men in open worlds. Even though Ubisoft marketed a game that doesn't exist, what we got is still worth experiencing, hopping into a 20-hour, very fun action stealth game with a good story and a lived-in open world. Maybe the sequel has better graphics, but with the gritty story, good characters, and the fun gameplay really make it a unique vigilante type game that I would recommend even with its problems. Playing Aiden, you feel like a badass taking out gang members with the power of the iPhone 4S, set in a city not many games take place in. So if you're at all interested, just wait for a Steam sale and get it for like $3. Hey, thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I'm looking at my YouTube studio right now. As of me recording this, we are at 928 subscribers. That is literally the most insane thing of all time. I can't even believe it. Thanks again for watching, and have a good one. Later.
Really gonna finish it up. Clean out some loose ends.